Yep. This is Dennis Nguyen with Society Pass.
Thank you very much. Hi, everybody. My name is Dennis Nguyen. I'm the founder, chairman, CEO of Society Pass Incorporated. And we are building the next generation digital ecosystem and loyalty platform in Southeast Asia. The company, of course, was formed in June 2018, incorporated in the state of Delaware. However, I subsequently IPO'd that onto NASDAQ in November 2021. A month later, we subsequently entered the NASDAQ Russell 2000. Between our IPO in November 2021 and our follow-on offering in June 2022, we raised a total of $40 million US. Okay. We currently are headquartered in Singapore. However, we operate in 5 of the largest Southeast Asian countries, principally Vietnam, Indonesia, Philippines, Singapore, and of course, Thailand. The company has grown actually very quickly in terms of employee headcount. Currently, in end of 2021, we had 45 employees. End of 2022, we had over 200 employees. I estimate by end of June, we'll have over 400 employees. Okay. Like I said earlier, we operate in Southeast Asia. We principally operate 6 verticals. We're acquisitions focused fintech and e-commerce holding company operating the verticals of loyalty, lifestyle, food and beverage delivery, digital advertising, telecoms, and of course travel. We'll talk about all those verticals in a little bit. Since we started business in June 2018, we've onboarded over 3.3 million registered users, over 650,000 registered merchants, and of course revenues and all the metrics in terms of social media interaction you could see there. And we'll talk about our financials towards the end of this presentation. The executive team, everyone loves to know who I am. I am a serial entrepreneur. I was a former investment banker / venture capitalist. Been doing this for 25 years. In fact, I've taken 6 companies public, 5 of which been in Singapore and Hong Kong, and Society Pass, of course, being the 6th one here in NASDAQ. We intend to spin out 2 of our subsidiaries as NASDAQ-listed companies by the end of this year, in which case we'll have, I've done 8 IPOs. Our executive team, we have a 20-person executive team that effectively manages the entire 250 some odd employees in Southeast Asia. All of us are based, of course, and live in Southeast Asia. Very proud to say that of the 16 direct reports to me, close to 7 of them are women. Of the 250 employees that we have in our company, very proud to say that over half are women. I think that statement, given that we're a technology company. This is probably the most important slide in the entire presentation, so please pay attention. Slide pretty much describes what we do and how we operate. As I said earlier, we operate a fintech and e-commerce holding company. We have 6 verticals. First, which is loyalty. We started Society Pass in June 2018 with the idea of building ubiquitous loyalty platform servicing consumers and merchants throughout Southeast Asia. Think of hotel points. Think of loyalty points. The people that buy our goods, sell goods on our ecosystem, of course, are able to issue and redeem loyalty points as the case may be. Now, obviously, we spent a lot of time from June 2018 to the end of 2019 building this very sophisticated loyalty back end. And of course, we were ready to launch that in April 2020. Unfortunately, COVID took basically the world by storm. And so we basically put our loyalty offering to the side. You can't launch a loyalty platform when, in fact, restaurants are closed, stores are closed, airlines don't fly, so on and so forth. And so we put that to the side, and instead, we started pursuing acquisitions. Why? Acquisitions give us three of our KPIs, namely revenues, registered users, and registered merchants. And so that's what we did. The second vertical we got into was lifestyle. With our lifestyle offering, we run a company in Southeast Asia called LaFleur. LaFleur is a Vietnam-based fashion marketplace. It sells clothes, women's products, jewelry, so on and so forth. This company from 2015, to 2019 was considered the Amazon.com of Vietnam. In fact, in the last year of its operations in 2019, generated annualized sales over $20 million US. Unfortunately for LaFleur, it went bankrupt in April 2020. We bought it out of bankruptcy in February 2021, relaunched it to the Vietnamese marketplace September 2021. And then up from a revenue base of 0 on September 5th, the final 3.5 months of 2021, we recognized close to $500,000 of sales. For 2022, LaFleur has grown strength to strength, recognizing over $2 million of sales. Very excited with where LaFleur is going. In fact, we're going to be announcing a pretty large acquisition, LaFleur will, over the next 3 weeks of a Philippines e-commerce platform. Okay, that Philippines e-commerce platform, of course, brings an extra $20 million US in sales for 2022. With that acquisition, which we'll announce, basically LaFleur will be operating for the first time ever outside of Vietnam into another country, in this case, Philippines. LaFleur brought us 1.5 million registered users and close to 5,000 registered merchants. And as I throw those numbers out, you'll understand where we're going with this by the end of the presentation. The third vertical we got into was food and beverage delivery. Be frank, food and beverage delivery is very, very small part of our entire ecosystem. In fact, only generates roughly 1% of our total sales. So people ask me, why, Mr. Nguyen, you're not really investing in food and beverage delivery vertical? Answer: I don't know of any food and beverage delivery company anywhere in the world that actually is profitable. And so what we've done with our food and beverage delivery vertical is making 3 acquisitions allowed us to onboard 600,000 registered users onto our platform, which now with that allowed us to get to 2.1 million registered users. The fourth vertical we got into was a company called Guerrilla Networks, which we bought in June of 2022. It's a Singapore-based mobile virtual network operator. Effectively, we lease bandwidth and data from incumbent telcos located throughout the world. In fact, we have relationships with 150 telcos located throughout the world. So with Guerrilla Networks, which we're going to be really launching in full speed in the 3rd quarter of this year, going forward, instead of buying physical SIM cards as you go from Singapore to Indonesia, Singapore to the United States, Singapore to any other country you go to, you download our app and you get eSIM service going forward. Okay? And so entering such country, you get your own local mobile number, which of course obviates the need for roaming and saves a lot of money for our consumers. We're also the world's first Web3 and blockchain technology-enabled telco. You'll be hearing a lot about Guerrilla Networks with regards to Society Pass over the next final 6 months of this year. Finally, 5th, digital advertising. We acquired a digital advertising company called Thoughtful Media. Thoughtful Media is one of the largest influencer advertising businesses in Southeast Asia today. In fact, in July 2022, when I acquired it, for the full 2022, it earned revenues of roughly $6.5 million and only was based in Thailand and only had 13 employees. Well, today, 9 months later, we now operate not only in Thailand, but we also operate in Vietnam as well as Indonesia. And our employee headcount has gone from 13 to now close to 50 employees. We think these 3 countries that we're in, we're able to generate $20 million US in sales for 2023. We're projecting somewhere around a 15% EBITDA margin for that. And so digital advertising is very much our key focus for the group going forward. I intend to spin out Thoughtful Media into its own separately listed company on NASDAQ towards the end of this year. And then finally, our sixth vertical is travel. We operate a company out of Southeast Asia called NusaTrip. NusaTrip, for those that don't understand what it is effectively the booking.com, the priceline.com of Southeast Asia. You want to buy a airline ticket from Indonesia to anywhere in the world, go on NusaTrip. You want to buy hotel rooms anywhere in the world. In fact, we have 650,000 hotels on our platform, going on our NusaTrip platform. 3 weeks ago, we announced an acquisition of a Vietnamese hotel tech company called V Leisure that NusaTrip now owns 100% of. And that's going to be a very, very important deal for us. Why? Up until this time, airlines, flights make up roughly 99% of all sales. What I want to build, and then of course hotels is 1% of sales. What I want to build out towards the end of this year is that hotel revenues comprise 15 to 20% of sales. Why? Anyone that knows the travel business knows that with flight revenues, the commission is roughly 2 to 3%. With hotel commissions, hotel rooms you sell on our platform, ranges anywhere from 7 to 20%. Well, it doesn't take a genius to know that that's where you really want to go. And so we're really focused on building our hotel product. Very excited about this. We are very much like our Thoughtful Media company. We are going to be looking to spin this out sometime in the last half of 2024. And it most likely will be a Hong Kong IPO. Okay? So we have talked about the 6 verticals. We talked about the acquisitions we've made from lifestyle to food and beverage delivery to telecoms to digital advertising, and then of course travel. Let's get back to loyalty. Okay? Now that COVID's over, the world has gone back to relative normalcy. Airlines are open, flying. Hotel rooms are being sold. Restaurants are open, so on and so forth. So with that, we are looking to launch our loyalty platform finally on June 28th, 2023. Okay? And that's going to be, I think, one of the most significant events in Southeast Asia e-commerce this year. Because for the first time, consumers that get onto our platform will be able to earn loyalty points. Think of hotel points, think of airline points. You go to my, for example, you go here, you buy a ticket from Singapore to JFK. Do that, you save, generally, save 10% off the ticket price. We call that cash discounting in e-commerce. Well, instead of giving out 10% in the form of cash discounting, we're going to give out 10% off the ticket in the form of society points, our loyalty points. The consumer, of course, then earns those loyalty points, and then going forward, be able to either redeem it on nusatrip.com. You can redeem it by buying some of our digital advertising, digital marketing shows, or buy clothes, fashions, and so on and so forth off of our LaFleur platform. And so we're going to be very, very excited to see the launch of our loyalty points. That's going to be, I think, a game changer. We have onboarded a number of very prominent payment integrators, such as Stripe out of the United States. We're about to sign a wide-ranging partnership agreement with Alipay. Alipay, of course, is the payments arm of the Alibaba Group, the biggest internet company in the world. So we're going to be doing joint sponsored marketing campaigns between Society Pass as well as Alipay in Southeast Asia. Our financials. Everyone loves to talk about financials. I like to talk about our financials. We started business in 2018. In 2019, we generated $10,000 of sales. In 2020, we generated $50,000 sales. In 2021, we generated over $500,000 sales. This last year, we generated $5.6 million of sales. For the past 4 years, we've been growing at roughly 10 times every single year. I don't see 2023 to be any different, which means we're forecasting sales of somewhere between $60 to $100 million of sales for the full year of 2023. And will be 5 to 10% EBITDA positive. Okay? So the company is managed really well. If you look at it, we have close to $19 million of cash in the bank as we speak. I think actually that cash hoard is going to be a lot more towards the year, especially as we turn the corner and break even sometime towards the end of second quarter, beginning of third quarter. You could see the financials that we've gone over the last 3 years. Again, $19 million cash in the bank, 0 debt, okay, and trending profitability within the next 2 to 3 months. In summary, 4 key points to take away. We run a powerful and integrated ecosystem. In fact, we've acquired 8 companies since we started. In fact, this year, we're going to be probably acquiring another 10. And so with the integration of all these companies coming in our ecosystem, really being able to grow our ecosystem with all these companies. We're going to be launching our loyalty platform in the third quarter. With Society Points, we intend to replace cash discounting for e-commerce in Southeast Asia as we know it with loyalty points. Why? Loyalty points builds, we believe, permanent customer loyalty from the consumers to the merchants, and of course from the consumers and merchants to the Society Pass platform. We operate in very attractive markets. Southeast Asia, of course, you take out all the major markets in the world today. We know where the United States is at. We know where Japan is at. We know where China and the EU is at. And Southeast Asia across the board, the countries are this year per capita GDP growth will be somewhere between 4.5 to 7% per capita GDP growth across the board. And so very attractive demographics in Southeast Asia. Median age ranges anywhere from 24 to 32 years of age across all the countries. Here in the United States, similar figures, roughly 43. China is also 42, 43. Japan is 52 years median age. Think about that. So you're looking at very young populations in Southeast Asia. 80 to 90% of them all have smartphones. Over 90% internet penetration rate. Southeast Asians spend roughly 8 to 9 hours a day on the internet buying and selling goods and services off of the internet. And then finally, with an experienced management team between myself and our 16 direct reports to myself, we have spent a lot of time in Southeast Asia building up companies with technologies, operations, legal, finance. And so with that, very happy to take any questions that anyone may have. Thank you. Sir. So it's a good question. Depending on the verticals that we acquire, let's call it travel, something immediately that's happening right now. Nusatrip just acquired a company, a hotel tech company in Vietnam, allows us to increase our hotel breadth of our hotel offerings, by the way. Scalability that of us, this guy probably generate close to $1 million of sale this year for us, which we would have never been able to grow organically by ourselves. By bringing him onto our ecosystem, we now support him with what he's doing in Vietnam. We take that technology that he has in Vietnam, and then, of course, in 2024, go out to the rest of Southeast Asia. For most of the acquisitions that we make, we basically integrate their back end, which means we rationalize finance, HR. In a lot of cases, those people, the back office are rationalized and we're able to decrease our costs, while at the same time increase our revenues and hence profits. Sir. I think a lot of people ask that question. I think a lot of it is just majority of that is probably the entire macro market, and then of course a disfavoring of Asian tech stocks. So that's where that is. But look, I'm going to be spending focus on investor relations for the rest of the year. A lot of last year I spent in operations building out an ecosystem that is quite frankly already built now. And so by doing that, we and bringing on more acquisitions, growing our operations organically, and doing more investor relations, I think the stock price will rebound very soon over the next few months. I think about it every single day of my life. In fact, the answer is not mutually exclusive. Life is never mutually exclusive. So it's not this or the other. It's probably both. That's where we're going to end up. So you're talking to a CEO, although I might look Asian to you, very American. Okay. And so I'm going to be able to communicate directly to American investors here in the United States. We have 4 investment banks that provide equity research on us, which, by the way, all of them suggest a target price somewhere between $2.75 all the way to $8. I'm going to be doing a lot of investor conferences such as this. In fact, we have a pretty sustained IR program. If you check out our internet, check out the online, we communicate with the market probably on a weekly basis. Whether it's Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, direct email marketing, we're all over the internet. Okay, and then with regards to Asian investors with access to NASDAQ, we definitely will be doing that. I of course my second language is Chinese. It's very easy for me to communicate to Asian investors that have access to NASDAQ. So I think that's at minimum a two-pronged strategy to raise the stock price. We're going to be making two big acquisitions that we're going to announce by June 30th of this year. With these 2 acquisitions, we're going to add roughly $50 to $60 million in pro forma sales to the company. You heard that right. Right? So last year I generated $5.6 million of sales. This year, pro forma, more than times. I don't want to get into it too much, but for sure, we're going to guide the market to where that, and look at where our the equity research is coming in, all thinking we're going to generate 30 to 40 million in sales and barely break even. Right? We're going to generate a lot more than that and probably come in roughly 10% EBITDA positive for the full year. So I'm very excited where we're at. I got to, of course, try to communicate more, and we are going to do that. I'm going to be coming to the United States a lot, even though I don't live in the U.S., and communicate with people such as yourself. Sir. In terms of the what? I mean, that's probably a major reason why the stock price cratered after that, of course, is because We did a 1 share plus 1 warrant deal in the last one. That was in February of 2022. And so, you know, obviously people shorted that and so on and so forth. But to answer your question, it was a 1 share plus 1 warrant deal. And we raised, you know, on the day of prior to closing that, the investment bank at that time told me they came up with $25 million of demand. And of course, I didn't take the 20. You ever seen this Chinese guy turn away money? This Chinese guy turned away money that day. Instead of taking in 25, it's supposed to be funny, everybody. On that day, instead of taking $25 million, which is really $50 million, because it's 1 share plus 1 warrant, I took only $10 million that night, because I didn't want to dilute my shareholders. Again, I believe we're traded roughly 6 times sales right now. Okay, so including all the warrants, all the management options, we got roughly 33 million shares / warrants outstanding. Times $1, 34 million US dollars market cap. 6 times sales. We had 5.6 million sales last year. By the end of this year, if we are able to generate 60 million sales and profitable, and assuming 6 times sales, you're looking at a 360 million market cap company. Basically $10 share price. Assuming everything that I said is good. And by the way, I'm very conservative in how I present my information. Right? I've been very conservative for the last 3 years in how I present the information. See the announcements over the next 2 months, and you'll see where the financials of this company is going to be going by the end of 2023. Sir. $3.30. Both. Yeah, I mean the shares we sold at $3.30, and then the warrants are also priced at converts at $3.30. So it's really, in my view, if the stock price is able to go to above $3.30 for any sustainable period of time, the stock takes off, because then the guys that have the warrants will be converting once that goes, and a major part of the overhang of the stock will have, of course, dissipated by then. Okay, with that, thank you very much. We're Society Pass, building the next generation digital ecosystem and loyalty platform in Southeast Asia. Thank you, everybody.